fainting from the intense experience. I got up and looked into his eyes and knew what he wanted. Slowly I removed his clothes and opened myself to him. I let him take control, allowed him to fulfill himself. Long into the night there was nothing but hot passion. The last few days were either spent down at the beach or taking peaceful walks together. I knew we only had a small amount of time left here, but I spent every minuet enjoying it. And on the day we were returning to Hyrule, I couldn't wait to get back. Upon our arrival at the castle, the King and Princess Zelda were at the gates to greet us home.
Home?
Back in Hyrule. Welcome home. How was thy honeymoon? The King questioned. We had the time of our lives. Link winked, and a grin happed upon his face. It was very beautiful, thank you so much, I said, hugging the King tightly. I really enjoyed the time with Link. Just then Zelda spoke up.
A fairy from the forest sent word that the great Deku Tree wants to speak with you both.
Link and I exchanged glances. The great Deku Tree has summoned us, I said as I looked back at Zelda.
Yes, the word came in this morning.
Link looked at me with a confused look.
We had better not keep the great Deku Tree waiting,
Link inquired. Jenna, my daughter, I will have one of your horses saddled and brought to you. I nodded, and then the King and Princess Zelda returned to the castle. After a few minuets, a stable hand came with my brown mare, Star Dancer. Link helped me up into the saddle, then mounted Epona. Link gently booted Epona, and she took off at a gallop. I then followed. We headed to Kokiri Forest. It was not a long ride, but we had to make haste. As we arrived at the entrance to the Kokiri Forest, Saria was there to greet us. You made it. The great Deku Tree is waiting, Saria said as we dismounted. I will have your horses tended to. Please go on. We each exchanged looks, then entered the Kokiri village. All of the Kokiri watched us as we make our way through. Then when we reached the entrance to the great Deku Tree's meadow, Mido, the Kokiri leader, was waiting. You must hurry, the great Deku Tree is waiting, Mido said as he ushered us onward. We walked down the path and into the meadow. As we stood in front of the great Deku Tree, he awoke from his slumber.
Link and Jenna, thou hast arrived. Come, come, sit, I have great news for thee.
Link and I sat down on the grass and waited for the great Deku Tree's news.
Link, hero of time, thou art courageous. Ye saved Hyrule, and thou hast taken a wife. Jenna, thou art spiritual. Ye lost thy family, then began a vagabond's journey. Now thou hast taken a husband. Shall ye seek the blessing of child?
I turned to Link and we exchanged smiles as we said, yes.
Since Hyrule is at peace now, things are all well, but the desert man may some day return. I give each of ye a guardian fairy to protect ye.
Just then, two fairies, one with a pink aura and one with a blue aura, flew over to us. I cannot believe that fairies really exist, I thought to myself. I watched as the blue fairy flew over to Link.
Long time no see, Link! How I have missed you!
Link looked at the blue fairy and smiled.
Navi, my old friend, I have missed you too. How have you been since last we saw each other?
Link inquired the blue fairy.
Oh, great! I see you have taken a wife. She is truly beautiful, Link. You two will make beautiful children together.
A race of atomic supermen!
The fairy smiled at Link, then flew over to me, the pink one behind her. As the fairy hovered in front of me, her blue aura seemed so beautiful, so peaceful.
My name is Navi, and this is Lily.
Hello, the pink fairy said.
We will be the guardian fairies for Link and you from now on.
Navi inquired. I could not believe I was getting a fairy. They were only told in storybook tales where I came from. But as I looked at Navi and Lily, I was glad that they were not just myths. I was glad to have a fairy partner. Navi then flew back over to Link, and Lily came over to me.
Hello, Jenna. It's nice to meet you,
Lily said as she hovered in front of me. As I looked at the pink fairy, I was glad that she was my guardian. Lily, I think we are going to be good friends.
As do I,
Lily responded. Then I got up and went over to Link. I threw my arms around him and looked into his eyes. His eyes seemed to glow in the sunlight. I laid my head against his chest and began to think to myself, a guardian fairy. I would have never dreamed. It is not a myth, this is real, and I am very lucky. Just then the great Deku-tree spoke again once more.
Thou art courageous, and thou art spiritual, will be protected if the desert man should ever return. Then your guardian fairies will help protect ye. When thou hast thy firstborn, return to see me.
With his words spoken, the great Deku-tree returned to his slumber. I held Link's hand as I looked at the two fairies. This is truly a great gift the great Deku-tree has given us. Then I looked back at Link, and he nodded in agreement. Link and I then kissed before we started for home. When we returned to Kokiri village, all of the Kokiri, especially Saria, wanted to know what the great Deku-tree told us. Saria's eyes widened when we told her we had our own fairies. Even more so when she found out that Navi returned to Link. That is great news, Saria said cheerfully. It is great to see that Navi has returned. Link nodded and a smile crossed his face.
How come they get fairies? They are not even Kokiri.
A voice called from behind. Just then the head, strong Mido approached us.
What makes them so special to get their own fairies?
Mido questioned. Saria turned and looked at Mido square in the face. Link is the hero of time. He's special. And so's his wife. As the sage of the forest, I remember what Ganon said. As we sealed him in the sacred realm, he cursed that he would one day get revenge on Link or his descendants. Link's already confided in me that he and his new wife plan on having children.
Which will conquer the world.
They will need protection if Ganon should ever return. He'd go after Link and his family first. Saria's eyes narrowed as she confronted Mido. Saria was always protective of Link, and even more so when Mido tried to get smart. I watched as she faced off with Mido. When Mido saw the fire burning in Saria's eyes, he knew to back off.
Well, they still don't deserve it. Grumble, grumble.
Then Mido walked off. Saria watched as he went. I'm sorry for all of that trouble. I guess he really never got over what happened 8 years ago. Saria then walked up to Link. Sorry, I guess he will never get over it, she said as she placed her hand gently on Link's. I will always remain your friend, Link, not matter what. I will also help protect you and your family should Ganon ever return. I promise, Saria said as she looked over at me. And I knew I believed her. She would go to the ends of the earth for Link, and that made me feel better as well. We spent some time there, while Link said some temporary goodbyes as I sat and talked with Lily.
And you can get it if you try.